It's like a 19-inch ring light.
No.
It's bright.
Dr. G. Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, that's me.
Dr. G. Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, that's me.
Dr. G. Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, that's me. Welcome to Dr. G Presents Open Circle Gathering, where we delve into life's mysteries to achieve life mastery. Along with my co-host, Amenaru Bey, we want to bring you the information and the inspiration that perhaps you don't get on the regular. Every other Sunday, you can find us right here at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Just kicking it with you and sharing the things you thought of and probably had no one to confirm or talk about with. That's Open Circle Gathering. I'm excited because we're talking about thought, the power of thought. And our topic is don't get mad because you are what you think. I'd like to welcome you. Yeah, that's me. To Open Circle Gathering. How you doing, my brother?
How you doing, Dr. G?
I'm good. Listen, it's another Sunday. We were here 2 weeks ago. We debuted, and I think we had a really good show. And, well, we've been talking about thought.
Yes.
We've been talking about thought. And, a lot of people, some people probably were not on 2 weeks ago when we introduced this, what we're doing. And I want to make sure that those who, that was a little better. I want to make sure that those who don't know you. Now, I didn't read your bio this time. I did it last time. And, because we're co-hosts, I shouldn't have to introduce you all the time. But I believe that there are probably some that did not catch our first broadcast and they don't know who Amenaru Gebra, I'll probably mess it up. Bey, you had to fix that bit. But no, you are multifaceted, multi-talented, and the Most High brought us together to do this divine work. I'm pretty sure. We there's such a look. I don't know what the difference in our age is, but I'm sure it's probably vast. But yet we click on so many levels, and It was just a natural progression that we would, work together and do this. But tell us a little bit before we get into the gist of the topic for tonight, today. I'm sorry. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, my name is Amenaru Gebra Bey. If you're from the East, you would say Gebra Bey. So basically, throughout life, I'm gonna keep it short. Throughout life, I grew up, feeling energies, supernatural things, experiencing those. I've always been a person of thought. I've always stuck to myself. It's just me, myself, and my mind. Fast forward, I start questioning things. Really wasn't into the church a lot, because, as a child of age 7, I was looking up at the stars, talking to the stars, and I didn't know what I was doing. Then I started having dreams and visions. And then later in life, that's when I found out that I was an empath, and in some cases a clairvoyant, because I would get, dreams with visions and, and signs, but now I'm sensitive to it. I can feel people's energies. I'm a natural artist. I grew up as an artist. I worked in the medical field. I'm still in the medical field. So something about me interacting and helping people, because I feel people's energies. So it's like I choose jobs where I'm around people and I can feel their energy. And from that, I've learned, the different thought processes that people have. From the person who has mental problems to the person who just has pure depression. And it's like I can feel that. And sometimes I can actually, visualize what they go through. Not a lot of people notice about me. My intermediate family, my siblings know. But other than that, I just, ask the Most High Source to teach me the truth. And here I am today, still learning the truth, because I'm a student until death. We all are. So, I study metaphysics. I went through life studying John Henry Clark, Dr. Phil Valentine, Brother Panic, Bobby Hemmett, C. Freeman L., my personal teacher, Dr. Akawea Nakobe Taraka Bey, Swift Angel #3. He's the Grand Sheik of Moorish Consulate. He's still currently my teacher and mentor. So, I surround myself by knowledge, just like you, Dr. G. We got together on knowledge. And we just clicked like we were comparing notes, like what notes you got. And I'm like, look what I got. And we had the same notes.
Absolutely.
Right. That's collaborational energy. But anyway, I could be here for days explaining my experiences and who I am and whatnot. But I'm here now, and me and Dr. G is going to enlighten you on the House of Reawakening Minds on what is going on with yourself, particularly the mind.
Absolutely. Because so many people are living in a place that they created, and that's probably the hardest thing. That's why I titled this "Don't Get Mad, You Are What You Think." A lot of people are living in a reality, that's what I'm going to call it, of their own creation. I did, and I don't see that here, but I started writing a piece before I retired in 2017 about the script of your life, about what roles we play in the script of life, and how we are like the writer, the script writer, and we're the director, and sometimes we pick the supporting characters, and sometimes those supporting characters would be protagonists or antagonists, and we put together the story ourselves, and then we incarnate and have a pity party about why is this happening, and why are these people not cooperating, or why is this situation, why do I always find myself not realizing that at that base level of incarnation, we do some actual scripting of our lives. But then once we're here, the issue of having our thoughts influenced, and not only having them influenced, but being the scripter of our own thoughts. And sometimes we get stuck in a loop of stinking thinking. And right about now, I think it's important to talk about what we think, because so many people have been being bombarded by media, online, mainstream, on the social media, all kinds of form. Very few people are probably reading newspapers these days, but
exactly.
But the media is influencing, is helping or assisting to put information into people that then begins to frame their reality. So right now, you got this pandemic and everything that's going on. And I really should have bought brought it up here, but you know, I hate masks. I don't like masks. I realize, and I put a mask on the other day that I purchased, and you know, and I heard somebody else say this, maybe Ralph Smart, because you give credit where credit is due, and he made a comparison between these masks and that movie, Hannibal Lecter, The Silence of the Lambs. I mean, because here we are with these masks on our face, thinking that if we don't wear them, that we're going to either, most of us are thinking that, we're not thinking that we're going to give anything, we think we're going to catch something if we don't have the mask on. When you know, and when you look at it, most of those masks, especially the ones that come under the chin and go up under the nose, they look like, except for the color, they look like the Hannibal Lecter mask. We just need to put Silence of the Lambs across it, because we are not, you know, speaking out and creating a reality of our own based on the information that's being fed to us.
Correct. So, you know, when I deal with patients, you know, what caused them to experience their worst is from a few different factors. One of them is depression. You know, something in their life event happened, which leads to a lack of options or a lack of understanding. So, you know, we tend to guide our thoughts based on the perception of reality that we're given. With that being said, if you were given a perception of reality that's a lie, then you're not really living the truth of your life. Well, let me explain. So as Moors, you know, we know that walking around society calling ourselves black is a negative thing, you know, because there was laws made around that word and we were treated accordingly, you know, from that word. But as Moors, we know that are those who don't realize that they're Moors, they'll walk around and say, hey, I'm black, I'm Negro, I'm colored, I'm African American, not knowing that metaphysics or the metaphysics of that energy is what causes, you know, the disparity, the lack of economics, the lack of self. So, and, you know, those who really believe in that term, you know, they don't understand why certain energies are brought to them. So you mentioned something about the mask, right?
Right.
So the mask is another perception of reality that is fed to society. You know, if you look up a lot of doctors who outspoke on it, if you look up the OSHA guidelines, you know, I used to be a welder. So, you know, the OSHA guidelines is the standard of mask wearing. Okay. They'll even tell you these masks don't work. If you're dealing with a novel virus, you know, or a new virus that you know nothing about, and I don't know why they keep calling it novel when they knew about it in 2019. How is it that such deadly virus can hop skip from one continent to the other side of the earth, you know, but a mask is going to protect you and 6 feet is going to protect you? No, because they did a study in the UK that said, okay, this particular virus can linger in the air for 3 minutes. So if we're in line, if we're social distancing, you move up and I move up, guess what? If it's in the air for 3 minutes,
moved into that
what's
space.
the point of social distance? And if you're wearing cloth masks or anything like that, a cloth mask up to an N95, it cannot stop the small particles or the nanoparticles of a virus. So what happens is you'll have people with normal, well, I ain't gonna say normal, chronic health conditions, right? And if they go in the hospital with these chronic health conditions, their perception is going to be, oh, I got corona, okay? Or if you look at the symptom requirements for having COVID, it covers every kind of medical problem that you have. So it takes all these medical problems and put it in one fishbowl and call it corona or COVID.
Right.
So your mind.
Yeah, I want to interject. One of our listeners, Daniel Cardenas, said it's really not most your creations, some actual experiences imposed on you. And I agree to an extent, particularly with what we're going through, because most of what people are dealing with is the information or the, the dissemination of information, true or false, that they have to decide in their own thought processes whether or not they want to accept or reject it. And,
Right.
and so once you get it in there, though, you're the creator. You have I always say that the subconscious mind is the 24/7 factory, that while you may be doing something in your, conscious thought processes, you've fed a lot of things that have been fed into the furnace of your subconscious. And that's where it's cooking. That's where the cakes of the thought of your, the thought cakes are baking, and to manifest who you really are. So I do agree, and I don't know whether you do, to an extent, that the ingredients get fed in, but what we do with the ingredients would be, the thought process that turns it into a reality that maybe we could have done otherwise had we thought differently.
Correct. So one thing first, in order to, control your mind and your thoughts, you got to know what it is. Now, I know we were talking about thought and what thought is.
Right.
If you want to explain what thought is, or you want me to explain it so people can know exactly what thought is, so we can put it in their perspective. So if we start speaking further, they'll know. Yeah,
we are both reading from the Downing International Encyclopedic Psychic Dictionary.
All right, here's my version.
Yeah, my version. So I don't know.
All right.
So basically, and a lot of times it says an ERG of energy. We talk about thought, an electrical impulse taken from pure energy, manipulated with a person's inner mind activity that automatically sends out a negative or positive current, which is chemically propelled. Inner mind activity having a set wavelength, which makes the mental plane. Now I'm going to stop right there. I think the important thing to stress is the fact that it's energy. It's energy. Case in point, when I was on live, well, I wasn't on live, but Grand Sheik was on live Friday night. And I got word that my father, who was in a nursing home, was taken to the hospital with a very high fever and pneumonia. And so everybody in my family, doesn't agree with the fact that I do energy work. But about 3 o'clock in the morning, because I planned to do it earlier after the show was over, but I was exhausted. But I woke up about 2:45, and I started with my proxy. I have a proxy animal that I use when I'm doing distance Reiki. And, I checked all the vitals. I already made a declaration that was my father. That was proxy for my father. So I checked all 7 chakras. Every chakra on this stuffed animal was spinning counterclockwise, out of whack. Mm-hmm. I proceeded for about an hour to do Reiki and focused a lot of attention on the heart chakra, chest area, because we're talking pneumonia, the third eye. He's, suffering from, dementia, and he's, he can't really talk about what's going on with him. So I did the whole body. Found out yesterday that around 6 or so in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, my stepmother received a call from the hospital that he was breathing better and some things had stabilized. That when I got that call during the class, that wasn't the case. And so my expression was to say, I knew that energy is real. I knew that I could send that energy, even though they won't let family go in. I knew that I could send, my energy was, not only was I sending energy, I was sending my love, because that's my dad. You know what I mean? That's my father. But by the same token, when we're thinking, that's what the point I want to get to. That is an energetic activity that scientists now can measure. They talk about synapses. You're in the medical field.
Mm-hmm.
So synapses fired. A lot of times it's like a network, and the more you think, the more it fires and connects to different ones. And which is probably something that maybe when a person starts to have diminished capacity, there is a lack of firing, correct me if I'm wrong, of those brain synapses, those connections. So they talk about telomeres and different things that get shortened as we get older. And a lot of people, we don't get into this, but we have to keep our minds so active as to always have like the pistons. It's like if you leave a car with the old pistons and you never crank it up. You stop cranking, you stop cranking the car up. And so now it's starting to, it lost its ability to fire, if you will, and the engine doesn't run right. But in our brain, the very same thing is going on every time we have a thought. But it's energetic. It's not, people question whether it comes from out there or not, but it's still energy and it travels. Right.
So you was mentioning something about dementia and dementia, Alzheimer's or whatnot. So basically what happens in dementia and Alzheimer's is destruction of the neurons. So when you lose a connection, like if we're standing in a single file line and the person in the back is charged with passing the box forward, if two of us fall out in line or die out in line, that box or that energy cannot move forward. So basically in certain diseases such as Alzheimer's, the brain shrinks, okay, which is like a form of dehydration because the brain is made mostly of water. That's why you need to drink water, a lot of it. But with all things that burn energy, to burn energy also means the destruction or death of that thing that is producing energy eventually. Okay, so like the more we burn energy, that's why we age. Okay, that's why our organs age, because we go out through life burning energy. It's like an engine. If you keep running that engine hard, eventually the engine's going to give out. Okay, so that's why your body goes through the natural aging process. Okay, I know, like for instance, I know Brother Phil mentioned like even breathing air over time oxidizes, the ions, whatever in your blood, and that can cause the aging process. Okay, so, but in the same token, if we know how to manipulate that energy, we can also heal ourselves and keep ourselves young. Because see, the body follows the mind. The mind is all. Okay, and the universe is mental.
Absolutely.
So, that's why they say laugh. That's why they say have a good time. Because that tells the body, hey, I'm feeling good. Let me release the good hormones. And those good hormones help energize your body. But you got to do the physical work too. You got to be careful what you put in your body. Because what you put in your body also alters the chemical balance of your body. Okay, you got to keep your body in what's called homeostasis, which is a balance. Okay, you can't put too much acid, you can't put too much alkaline. It's got to be out of balance. If it goes one way or the other, see, people think, oh, I'm gonna get more alkaline. Well, now your bases and your acid is off. But that right there is the fuel for the brain, because your brain you need water, you need sugar, you need oxygen. Okay, and the brain, just like the heart, is greedy. It's very greedy. Other than that, your intestines pulls in the most blood when it's digesting. That's why you feel tired. But the mind has to continuously be fed. Okay, so you have to look at things, surround yourself by positivity. Okay, it's hard in this world with everybody thinking negative. Okay, because that energy rubs off on you. Yeah. Everybody in this world has an empath ability. It's just that if you learn to tap into it or not. Okay, some people can't tap into it. It's like I do art, so I tell people, hey, you can do art just like me. First thing they do is doubt themselves. Oh, I can't do that. Well, you never, because you didn't think positive about it. So it's your thinking that drives the body and tells the body what to do. Duh. but you have to have certain type of thinking. You got to surround yourself around certain type of people.
I'm not laughing. I was looking at Real Blair says, I drink a lot of Hennessy. Well, if that helps. Okay, Ms. Raya has asked us what was the name of the book. It's like you're frozen.
Okay, all right, back online.
We got you back. We got you back.
Right.
Ms. Raya. No, I was saying Brielle Blair says I drink a lot of Hennessy. I don't know if that's necessarily, good for the liver, but
no.
or the brain.
Well, he said Hennessy.
I don't know whether it was a he or she, because Brielle, names.
No, what did he say about alcohol?
They said I drink a lot of Hennessy. That they drink a lot of Hennessy. You talked about drinking water, the need for water for the brain. Also asked. Yes, I can post the name of the book. They want us to post the name of the book. What is Brielle Blair? I'm looking. I don't know. Said put this question up. Yeah, it's a brother. Okay, I guess it is. So, what is recreation?
Well, look at the prefix. What is re? Re means to go back. Okay, so right. You are recreating. You are going back and then creating it all over again. That is what recreation is. Because see, in order to understand words, you got to look at like my teacher, tell us to look at the suffix, prefix of the word. You got to know your 9 parts of speech. And see, with the English language, you have to know this and know what these prefix means, because if you don't, and if you don't go through the etymological meaning of the word, you'll get lost in its translation. You can be misled that way too. So re means to go back, just like religion. Re, lig, bind, on, to continue it on. So, I mean, look at your suffix, prefix. So what about recreation?
Yeah, I'm not sure what brother Brielle, what you meant by recreation, because are you talking about recreation like reincarnation, or recreating something that was seemingly destroyed or something?
Okay, so let's get into that. Let's get into the brother's recreation. So in the Moorish understanding, we know we are the thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. Okay, so that means we are a mere idea of creation, and the thought and the idea produces the thought, which produces the action to create something, right? So the mind, thought, is something. The mind is something that's everlasting, because the mind is a faculty which holds the intelligence, and the intelligence of the atom. And if you want to go deeper, into the electron of the atom, okay? But the atom cannot move. And if you're in the Moorish understanding, the atom cannot move until it's quickened with the holy breath or the spirit, because spirit provides the vibration or the means for the intelligence to produce the matter that you see. So when you recreate, I can recreate anything just by my mere thought. Okay, that's why your thoughts house the Akashic records. Okay, because the mind is the Akashic records. And with that, you can always go back. Like, let's go back to dementia and the Alzheimer's. You notice these individuals always relive their past, correct? You'll go into the room and they'll be like, oh, I remember you from high school. Oh, I remember you from this. Or you are my little sister. And it's like, Mama, I am not your little sister. Basically, in their own dimension, they're reliving or recreating what is already stored in mind. It's move anywhere. So this is what causes, the demented mind to recreate, just keep recreating the same thing and not being able to look forward. Okay, because those networks are closed off. Look at, like we were talking about Thoth. Okay, we're getting into the Hermetic principle. What's international? Yes. So we were talking about Thoth earlier, correct? So Thoth is thought. Okay, so Thoth, the thrice born, okay, just means the continuation of that thought. Okay, that's recreating. Every time you have a child, You are recreating. Okay, that is recreation. And not only are you recreating, through the mitochondria of the woman, you are passing along the Akashic or the mind or the thoughts that preceded it. So right now in you, in your bloodline, you have the thoughts of your ancestors. But in today's society, it is intentionally kept from you. It's locked down from you through the food you eat, through what you see on TV, through the music you hear. The reason why we're all waking up is because we're all starting to not only question, but we're starting to tap back into the Akashic records. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but some of these movies, TV shows, you know, even with Beyonce, you know, these symbols, these sigils are giving us that knock on our brain like, hey, wake up, wake up. That's why the age of enlightenment is so important and why we question everything. I had someone text me earlier wanting some information to know themselves, and not only know themselves, but like, you know, I told you, you have to purge your mind from what you were taught throughout life and reprocess it or relearn that which was kept from you. So yeah, recreation, you know, means so many things in the physical and metaphysics.
I think the brother said that, and he's clarified a little bit. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't mean that. He says, like, I burn energy when I work out, but I get stronger too, aka recreation. So
well, let me tell you about that. When you overwork your body, okay, you are forcing your body to go outside its limits. See, it was back in Greece where the men used to build up their muscles because each muscle represented a Greek god. So if one man, like in the Olympics, whatever, he would build up his biceps because that was linked to a god. Build up his abdomen, his muscles, because it was linked to a deity. And so they built up these things to get energy from these deities, okay? So, but when you overwork the body outside its normal parameters, you are stressing your body. And not only that, you have to upkeep that energy, because see, the body is made to move constantly, okay? We are walking batteries. We have to keep moving. If we just lay down all day, then we'll start getting blood clots. We'll start, you know, losing feeling in our nerves. You know, this happens to people in nurses' home all day. So you have to upkeep that, okay? Every day for the rest of your life, you have to get excess protein, excess this, just to keep that bigger mass. Because remember, the bigger the muscle, you know, because the bigger your muscles also can release certain kind of enzymes, okay? So you're getting all this protein and all these nutrients in your body. See, when you start overindulging in elements and proteins and stuff, you got to remember your body got to process this. You're going to put a workload on your kidneys for one, okay? That's why when you drink a lot of electrolyte drinks, you got to go use the restroom if you're not working out, because your body's got to filter all that excess electrolytes. So you can say, hey, like say for instance, you go to the gym, big up these big old muscles, you looking like the Incredible Hulk. Next thing you know, you injure your leg and you got to stay at home for, let's say, 4 months. That is 4 months of you sitting down, not constantly upholding that energy. And next thing you know, it's just going to start looking all saggy and everything like that. You know, same thing with women. You know, if you're overweight and you do these liposuctions or these super fast diets without working out, you're going to get hanging skin. You get what I'm saying? So you got to be careful with that. You know, if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger today, you can see his body is not the way it used to be. It's like, it's just a whole kind of mess. So, you know, you being a man and having the testosterone, you can better uphold that than a woman who's mostly filled with estrogen. Because when a woman's stressing her body out like that, and this is in the book Wounded Womb by Phil Valentine, she actually causes her body to become sick with fibroid tumors and such. You get what I'm saying? So I kind of hope that kind of touched on what you just said.
well, from a standpoint of when we going back to our topic of thought, even sometimes, you know, have you ever had like a slight issue? Now we have these smartphones, so-called smartphones, And I like the fact, not like the fact, but when you look at the etymology of the word smart, it really means stinging, hurting. It's a painful thing.
Yeah.
And so some have questioned whether or not right in our face, they tell us we've given you, something that is really hurting you.
Yes.
But once you take a look at something, maybe you feel like you think this might be going on in your body. If you do a Google search, the next thing you know, you're getting all kinds of text things that are jumping up, flash ads, symptoms of this and that and third, and people start to see these things. And this is constant. I've seen it a lot of times. That's why I don't even like going to look at anything on Google, because after that, then I'm bombarded by all of these. You may have this or you may have that, and you don't want to do that. But some people do that, and then they begin to think, perhaps I do have this. Perhaps this is what's going on with me. And they actually, because thought is energy, the power of thought, it's a creator. Energy creates or destroys. I read that. So you can go into your, what I call, like I said, your subconscious of construction facility or whatever plant, the plant that manufactures, and you can go down there and create cancer. That's why when they say you get a support cancer research, wear a pink ribbon, buy a pink this and do that. And yes, we all know people who have it, and we want to make sure we want them to get well, and a lot of them don't, unfortunately. But when we support these things, then we're giving life to the very thing that we are saying that we want to eradicate. And there's never any profit in the cure.
Right. Well, what you're talking about is capitalizing on your body. Everybody has cancer in their body. Everybody. It's just that when it reaches a certain size to be detected, then you got an issue. We all know that sugar is one of the main things that powers cancer. However, you have a term called psychosomatic disorder. And basically that is when your mind and body, the mind and the physical body start talking. And those with illnesses can actually amplify their illness just by the thought itself, just by worrying about it, just like anxiety, for example. You have people who worry, oh, what's my heart doing? The palpitations, I feel my heart beating, or, oh, I'm going to die, whatever. You think that that's what will happen, because anxiety is a serious condition, okay? Because if you're panicking, your thought is controlling your heart rate. Your heart rate get too fast, SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, your heart's going to fail, okay? The same thing with the rest of the parts of your body. So the thought not only determines how healthy or how sick you are, but the thought also determines how successful or what your failures are in life. Because remember, you can't just think about the body. You got to think about the world that you navigate in. Thought encompasses everything in the universe, and everything in the universe is yours for the taking if your thought is powerful enough. But what is thought? Thought is just that inert intelligence that needs to be moved with the vibration. Okay, if you are thinking, if your vibration is always low, depression, or what we call the lower nature, depression, envy, all that's lower nature stuff. Okay, if you're not reaching for your high self just means higher vibration. Higher vibration causes the molecules to speed up, okay, and disperse out faster and in a more wider plane. You get what I'm saying? So this is why thought is so important, because your thought is always being hijacked. You mentioned the cell phone. The cell phone does two things. One, it puts like a geofence around your aura because of the frequency it emits. Two, what it flashes on the screen, draws out your attention. So now your aura cannot get out, but it's drawn towards this one device. back in the day, we could memorize what 50 numbers at a time. Now what? We just dial by name.
That's
It's
right.
dumbing us down. You know, we don't pick up a book. Okay, and it's like if you don't read from a physical book, you're not promoting usage of both sides of your brain. Okay, when you're reading online and PDFs, you're only using one side of your brain, because part of your brain is interpreting the words and the other part is actually holding the book, turning the pages. Okay, that's why, you know, your children need to have physical books. Like, look at all those books behind you. That's capital right there. If you want to talk about capitalizing, books are capital. Even Thomas Jefferson said this. You know what I'm saying? So books are about as capital as precious metals, because the internet can change. The internet does change daily. Okay, the internet is nothing but a central intelligence of a mind manifested by those who want to hijack you from your mind and thought. But we have to get back to the root of things and start getting into these physical books and back into the physical understanding of ourselves. That way we can be healthy and stop being affected by this corona stuff. That way our mind can be strong and stop being manipulated by the news and what these politicians are telling us. You know, I mean, we all know the most expensive thing that you can pay is your attention. Okay. And it's like, once you tether your attention to that which grabs it, then that tether will allow back and forth information to process. So if you're looking at a TV, that TV is programming my mind. Like there was a big thing about Disney. I don't know if you heard about it, like years ago, Disney showing subliminal sex messages in their cartoons. I didn't believe it because I grew up on Disney. You know, I used to have Disney coloring books. That's how I learned how to draw. But I went through and I was like, hey, is that that's a deal? Yeah, that's what they're doing. So your mind is always being hijacked. That's why we're more sick today. Not because of the frequencies that's increasing, but what's being put in our mind. We're sicker. You know, people ask me, what is the most craziest thing I've seen in the medical field? And I'll reply, not taking care of yourself. That's the most craziest thing I've ever seen in the medical field, is people not taking care of themselves. So they depend on others. You get what I'm saying? They depend on others to give them the answers. And when they do get the answers, they still don't. Like if you go to hospital, people don't know that the discharge papers that you get are further instructions to guide you on what you need to do to fix your situation. If you keep going back to the ER, guess what? They're going to keep giving you the same discharge papers. You're going to have the same problem. Now, I do realize that some of that is an economical thing and some people can't afford it, whatnot. But there's always home remedies. There's naturopathic remedies to everything, you know, but you just can't take the naturopathic remedies and still not keep your body in its healthiest shape, if that makes sense. Like the brother, he said he works out. That's good. He's getting good cardio. He's getting, you know, he's keeping himself looking younger. Okay, because you need to exercise, your body needs to move. But the thought controls everything. Body follows the mind. Okay, because he can work out all he wants, but if his mind is not right, he can get sick.
You know what? I was listening. We were both listening to Dr. Dispensenza. I never say that right. And I wrote some notes, few notes, and I wanted, if you don't mind, I want to share this. This is about your brain because he's very big. I've got Joe Dispensenza. Some of you may know about him. I've got some of his books over here, but we're actually looking. And here's some notes I took. That says there's a network in your brain for every person you know, every place that you go, everything that you own, and everything that you do. And the moment you open your eyes, like when you wake up in the morning, and see the same people and go to the same places and do the exact same thing at the exact same time, it's your frontal lobe environment that's turning on different circuits in your brain, causing you to think everything that you know. And you know, it says that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny as long as you keep thinking, this is the biggie, equal to your environment. You keep creating the same thought. As long as you keep thinking equal to your environment, you keep creating the same thought. I'm going now to people who say, well, I grew up in the hood, or we never had anything. If you look around you, and the smartest, the most industrious, and most whatever person in your circle is you, then the likelihood is that you're just in a vicious cycle. You need to think higher. You're stuck. I know a sister who used to do my hair, used to braid my hair, and she lived in the projects. And finally, eventually, she was going to be moving out of the projects.
Right.
And she said, I'm leaving this to my daughter. And I was like, oh my goodness. No. You gotta, daughter was now, old enough. And I thought, what a low level legacy to leave, right, to put somebody into the vicious cycle that you just escaped from, or you're about to escape from. Mm-hmm. And so we tend to surround ourselves by familiarity, and we complain about. That's why I say, don't get mad. You are what you think. You complain about not having, funds, not having, you don't like where you live, and you don't like the job that you have, and all of those things, but you don't do anything whatsoever. You have no goals. You don't, when you talked about how important it is to read a book, it's equally important that when you set goals and objectives that you write them down, because when you speak it, that's one thing. When you write it, that's another thing. You know what I mean? And when you read it constantly is another thing. It's called crystallizing your thinking. Yes. And you apply as many different things that you apply to, or employ rather, to further whatever it is your goal is what helps make it, builds up the energy through thought to make that thing a reality. So you want to get out of being, you don't want to be broke. I heard Bob Proctor say that he was so broke. He said he's an older Albion, but he was so broke. He didn't want to be poor. But if you keep saying, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be broke, guess what? The energy that comes along with the thought that you are producing just appears poor. And so you're then now increasing your poverty mentality and your poverty reality, because you're not, you're the universe here is poor. So poor is what you get. But anyway, back to this guy. I hear him talking about his life, and he said that he met a guy. He said he was making $4,000 a year working as a firefighter back then. You know how long it is, and he had $6,000 worth of debt. He said, but he wanted $25,000, right? Mm-hmm. And so he said, but he thought about it, and he said, if all the people he put together that he knew together, he said he didn't think he could get $25,000 out of the people, nor did he think he could get 100. But he met a guy who said to him, do you have goals? Write down, a goal that you want, and then read it every day. Put a carrot in your pocket, read it every day. So apparently he did this goal of $25,000 but he didn't just put down a goal that he wanted or he desired $25,000. It was written in such a way that says every time he woke up and every time he said, I'm grateful that I have $25,000. He began to create his future in his present. Because most of the time, from what I was listening to Dr. Joe, is that we are living and recreating an emotional incident of our past. When we are, when we go back to that thing that hurt us, or that thing that person that disappointed us, or that job that fired us, and we play that over and over again, we are living emotionally, energetically. Our thoughts are stuck in the past. When you say, I'm grateful for my new home or my new car, when I get every since 2011, every auto I've purchased, I have manifested it by speaking it before I got it. I've studied it. I printed pictures of it. I've gone to visit, the car dealer. I've looked at now with the YouTube videos, and I've written down what I wanted, and I have gotten exactly what I wanted. So I do know those things work, but a lot of people are bemoaning their situation in their mind, don't realize that they're creating the perpetuation of lack or illness or the relationship problems and so forth, and that the mind is so powerful and so non-discriminatory, that if you would employ the energy of thought in the right direction, you can have exactly anything that you want.
Correct.
So,
So
but people normally do the opposite because we complain and we don't know that the complaining keeps keeping us in the rut with more of the same.
So, I know when I was, younger, when I was into the Bible, we all were at one point, but it does have African spirituality within it, because ultimately it came from us. I had to certify that before I tell you this. So in the Bible, it says, forgive them for they not know what they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to what you said about growing up in the ghetto or poverty or whatnot, that is a learned experience. And naturally, we will want to follow our mothers and fathers because they are our first teacher. And our experiences in life is what guides us to the future. With that being said, you have to have the willpower to look in a different direction and to want something better. See, that's the thing about life. You always got to want something better. I tell people, what makes life worth living is always giving yourself a goal. Always give yourself a goal. Once you complete a goal, get another goal, then another goal. As long as you keep your mind, on something for your future attainment, and well-being, you will be happy in life, but you have to get the information so it can turn into knowledge. Okay. Then you turn it into experience. And from experience, you can turn into wisdom. That wisdom is what helps you teach other people, that was in that same situation, and you're right. When you got to be careful of the environment you're around and the people you're around, because those can act as your prohibitors in life.
Right.
So if you want better and you're hanging around people who don't want better,
right,
something is wrong. And that's going to prevent you from getting what you want. I'll give you something practical that the people can do. No matter what your religion is, meditation is universal. Okay? You don't have to be religious to meditate. But when you meditate, you are going within inside self and you are manifesting what you want. Here's what you need to do. Find you one spot in your home, one spot that you can go in, sit Indian style on your knees, whatever you want. Make sure you're not being bothered. If you have little humans running around, make sure you're not able to be bothered. Okay, it's got to be the same spot every day at the same time, usually at sunrise, because when the sun rises, that's what gives us our energy and charges our body and mind. That's the soul, Solomon, whatever. I ain't gonna get into all that. But ask for what you want, or no, manifest what you want. Okay, there's a difference between asking and manifesting. When you're asking, you're going outside yourself. Right. When you're manifesting, you are telling yourself what you want. So sit in the corner or same spot, and I'm gonna tell you why, every day, because I did it, and just ask. Like me, I will learn the truth. If you believe in the Most High, ask the Most High. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Teach me the truth. Teach me, ask for the same thing. Don't be greedy. You have to be humble. Don't ask for like things that have no meaning, like give me money. I want a car. Ask for something that the soul can provide naturally. Okay, because once you meditate, you are connecting to the meta netter or the mother nature. Okay, so ask for something that comes from nature. Ask for the truth. Ask to be successful. And the reason why I said the same spot is when you go to the same spot, you are charging that spot with energy. And each time you go back to that spot, especially when the sun rises, you are charging that spot with energy. And this energy will be charged so bad or so great that when people come over your house, they might feel it. What will happen is the soul or the spirit will start guiding you to different clues and different breadcrumbs of what you need to know the truth. That's the same thing that happened to me. I wouldn't know what I know now, and I wouldn't be where I'm at now if it didn't happen. Another thing you can do is get you like some parchment paper, get you like some ink, write a divination. Okay, I'm going to get this house. I'm going to get this money, because now you're using physical means of manifestation of your thoughts to get physical things. Okay, write that on parchment paper. Write everything that you want in life on parchment paper. Then what you do is you fold it up, put it in a jar of water, seal it, set it out in the moon. Because what the moon is, just like the sun that gives you energy, the moon pulls out the energy. Okay, so set that in the moonlight for about 7 days or whatever. I set mine out for like a few months. And that moon will charge that water, because the moon moves water. Okay, it'll charge that water. The ink on that parchment paper will dissolve into the water. So now you have your words manifested in this jar of water. And then when you're ready, open the jar up, pour it into the ground so the earth can absorb it and give you, you know, through what you manifest, what you want. And it works, because I've tried it. Okay, so those are some things that you can try, but you got to think positive. Always think positive. If you're feeling sick, think positive. I'll get well. But part of that is getting knowledge and information. Okay, because faith without works is dead. Okay, the only thing you should put faith in is yourself, and get the knowledge that you need to obtain so you can better yourself. Because if you don't have the knowledge, you know, if you don't have the information, you don't have the knowledge, you don't know how to move on that knowledge.
That's awesome. I kind of got a little echo in here. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, I grabbed a few books off the shelf. Can you hear that echo?
I can't. I got you down a little bit.
Yeah, let me see what all of a sudden, I got it. Let me see if I can. Hope you all can still hear me. You hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. I'll turn everything down. I was grabbing some books off the shelf. You mentioned most people know about
Mother Nature.
Mother Nature. Mother Nature. I grabbed that, and I grabbed the 11 Laws of God.
Yes.
And oh yeah, and I had this too. Yikes! I grabbed earlier the feng shui of abundance. There's a feng shui to abundance, and there's a way. It's like you arrange your house and your home in certain ways for perfect alignment and so forth. There's a feng shui of creating abundance in your life,
and that's important too. That's important. Make sure your house is set up to get good vibration. Colors. Why do you think there's colors in Africa? Put colors in your house. That vibration will help you feel better too.
Yeah. Now here's another book. The Secret of the Creative Vacuum. Man and the Energy Dance. It says, let me just read this because this is interesting. Push this down. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Are you able to put the title and caption?
I will write all of these books down. I'll put all these books down so you can see them. But on the back of the book of The Secret of the Creative Vacuum, it says, Man in the Energy Jam. Modern man has sought answers to life's deepest questions through an increasingly detailed analysis of matter, yet results have proved elusive, pointing as much, if not more, to the importance of the seeker's own mind as to matter itself. Mystics, on the other hand, have sought answers to the same mysteries through the inverse process, a turning within, studying mind and consciousness through specific meditational, as you were just talking about, practices. Both have reached the same conclusion, that the mind and matter, energy and consciousness, are too intimately entwined to be separately understood. So this book, The Secret of the Creative Vacuum, reveals the significance of this step, also outlining some of the profound and fascinating technological changes it will bring, including unlimited energy supplies. And so, you know, I find books all over the place. I don't know where I got this one.
So yeah, so that's important. So
it was actually published in England. I see a pan. I don't know where I got this, but
right. So that's important because I remember Dr. Phil Valentine talked about the word. In the beginning was WORD, earth, fire, air, water, whatever. Mind in the beginning was the word, or the universal mind. So mind is an intelligent or thought, right? But it's an invisible source of intelligence, okay? And that invisible source of intelligence is what flows through your brain. But, you know, it takes vibrational frequency, okay, to actually move that intelligence, because matter is nothing more than intelligence that has not moved yet. Okay, it needs to be quickened with vibration or spirit or breath. So when you have these basic understandings, you can better reformate yourself and control yourself with these basic. Because here's the thing, we've been given the English language, which has over 20 different definitions for each. But when we start recollaborating our mind to these metaphysical terms, then we are able to not only help heal ourselves, but to help propel ourselves in life. Okay, because life itself is really the true death. Okay, because our vibration is slowed. Okay, so okay, that's what you put. So let me certify something for the people. Everything we're talking about ultimately generates magnetism. Okay, so magnetism, you know, in physics you have two atoms. Okay, two atoms cannot occupy the same space at the same time. Okay, the only way they can do that is if the vibration increases. And once the vibration increases, it takes not even a second for each atom to occupy each other's space. That's what's called quantum physics, occupying the same space in the same time. That just means the vibration is so high, the atoms will switch spots. But in theory, atoms cannot hold the same place. But the thing about the atom is it attracts each other to its like intelligence. Okay, so this is why I'm telling you this. I'm not talking to you as a human being. I'm talking to you as a composition of intelligent atoms that put this physical body together. See, you're not a body with a brain in it. You're a brain with a body surrounding it. So with that being said, your thought, the higher you think of yourself, increases that vibration, okay? Where the atoms can fit in each other's spot a lot quicker. Because right now we're like this. You know, the atoms, they're repelling each other, but they must stay close to each other, okay? Because like intelligence attract the other. Iron sharpens iron. So put yourself around people who have the same mindset you do. If you want to be rich, hang around people, business owners, hang around financial advisors, you know, hang around people who collect wealth. Okay, if you want to learn about, let's say, religion, hang out at the church, hang out at the mosque, hang out at the Hebrew house. I can't even think of the name of it. But anyway, hang out around all of them so you can get a whole totality understanding of it. If you want to understand health, medical, you know, hang around people like me. Ask doctor questions. Doctors love answering questions. You know, they went through all that school and all those years. They will love to educate you. Get you some health books. I have plenty of health books, pathophysiology, physiology. You know, what you seek is out there for you to get. Okay, but you have to change how you think about yourself and what you and the people you place yourself around. I did radio broadcasting for 9 years. I was a radio DJ. You know, this is why I'm digging this right now with Dr. G. But I didn't get into that position until I put myself in that position. Okay, I hung around like people who knew other people. Anything you want in life, you can get. Okay, except certain things where you have people working in opposition against you. Okay, so I'm not going to give you fairy tales. Okay, but if it's realistic and it's for your own future attainment, health and well-being, you can get that. You know, this is my problem Dr. G, this is my problem with a lot of our people, you know, particularly those who grow up in poverty, whatever. They lose hope and they think they can't get something better. So what they do is they look at the outside of that community and blame people for their disparity. I grew up in the hood, you know, I grew up around drugs. I grew up around guns. I had guns pointed at me. I've been robbed, you know, but I sought to get out of that situation. So I hung around people who were doing positive things, and they showed me how to get out of that environment. I didn't blame nobody for that. I didn't say, oh, look at that car he got. Oh, he lived out in the East End. Oh, he think he better. I didn't do that. I was like, how do you get that? How do you get that? You know, if you want wealth, you know, I listen to Dave Ramsey. I have a financial advisor. If you want wealth, Dave Ramsey says you have to live like nobody else so you can live like nobody else. That means you have to make sacrifices. See, when you have a passion for something, you obtain what you're trying to get, because passion means to suffer. If you're not willing to sacrifice time, energy, and even mental energy, you're not going to get what you need. It takes sacrifice. It takes dedication. It takes passion to get what you want. It's not easy, especially deprogramming your mind from the indoctrination and reprogramming it back to the right way. So if you're not willing to dedicate and sacrifice, you're not going to get what you want. You know, like the brother, you know, I'm going to use him again. The brother who said he goes to the gym and works out. That's dedication. That's dedication, you know, and he's programming his mind and body to do that. Because I'm pretty sure when he first started doing that, his mind was like, oh, do we really want to do this today? Yeah, I don't know. Let's do it. But now he's in a routine and he can just do it. If you want to lose weight, you have to be dedicated to give up your vices and superfluities, such as all the cupcakes, sugar, because humans today have an eating disorder. We all do. So you got to be able to control this. Sacrifice. What's that book you put up there? Amenaru Volume 1? Yeah. Oh, let me tell you another book to get. If you never read this book, The Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Pert Amenaru, The Book of Coming Forth by Day, that's a good book. Walter Ashby, this is a good book. Comedic Tree of Life. Dr. Lila Africa, for those of you who are endowed with the melanin and you want to understand how your melanin works, okay? Because melanin itself is intelligence, okay? And melanin is sensitive, you know, to a lot of the elements. That's why we got to be careful, you know, taking radiation, chemos and stuff like that, because our melanin helps these things linger in our body longer, okay? Because melanin is that programmable intelligence that takes outside sources or chemicals and holds on to that. Because the wonderful thing about the atom is it keeps the memory of the vibrations. You know, that's how you get, you know, passing down of genetics, because the atom itself holds the memory of the different vibrations in the past. So you got to be careful, you know, what kind of information you're getting or what you're putting in your body. What you got there? The Osirian Resurrection, the Initiate's Daily Meditation. Okay. So, you know, everything about thought is a very serious subject matter, because a lot of us don't think. Noble Drew Ali even instructed us to think. Okay. The problem is, you know, just because you can think don't mean you move forward. Okay. To move forward, you got to evolve. You got to evolve past, you know, what was taught then. You can use it as a foundation, but you got to build upon that. And sometimes it takes different forms, you know. So all in all, your thought is what drives you and attracts you to things in life. And if you don't understand this, and if you're not willing to put yourself around people and in situations that will better you, you know, but it's got to start with self. You got to know thyself. Okay, the brother mentioned what, alcohol earlier.
Yes.
See, here's the thing about alcohol. Alcohol was used as a medicinal thing. It's like medicine. Okay, because alcohol can destroy a lot of germs. But the thing with, how we drink alcohol today, can be, detrimental to our bodies. It's not only makes you gain a gut, but if you're on medications, that can be a bad thing because alcohol slows the metabolism down. The medications you take are meant to dissolve at a certain rate so you can get a certain amount of that medication. When you drink alcohol, it slows the metabolism down in your liver. So that medication is just lingering in your body. Okay. And that can be bad. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to add this about alcohol. Oh my gosh. What is this? Just want to get this. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So I wanted to add about alcohol, though. The reason why they call it spirits, wine and spirits, is because literally the properties or the infusion of spirits. That's why they use it in, when you have Brother Bobby Hemmett and others would, excuse me, choke a little bit.
Is that famous juice you gave Taj?
Is
that famous juice you gave Taj?
Yes, yeah, that's it. I just swallowed this.
Don't choke. I ain't got my first aid kit.
I can't do this online, y'all. You don't see me choke right online. Isn't that terrible?
I ain't got my first aid kit. Don't choke.
And look, reach over. Like, remember what we did here? Reach over. Reach that way because I can grab it. No, the other way. There we go. Like, right. Thank you. I got it. Right. So, excuse me. But I wanted to say the spirits. The reason why they call the spirits because there was an infusion of actual spirits in a lot of the alcohol. And so a lot of times when people will say imbibe, if you will, it too much, it gives them another personality. And they don't realize that by ingesting that alcohol, they've allowed themselves to be taken over or I don't know what the title is. When a spirit comes in, you literally are inviting spirits that then take control of your mentality, your actions, and so forth. And so it's important not to overindulge in that because it really, when they say spirits, they mean spirits.
Yeah. So spirit is nothing but the quickening, or spirit is nothing but that vibrational force that moves matter. But when you drink alcohol, the reason why they call it demons or spirits possessing your body, because alcohol, it slows your thinking down. It slows the vibratory rate of your thought. And like you said, it changes your personality. That's why the best husband in the world can start beating you when he starts drinking alcohol. And that's because the vibration in his mind starts to slow. His metabolism starts to slow. Everything slows in his mind. And he takes on another personality, or as if he can't control his personality. Back in the medieval days, that's why, they called alcohol spirits. So, and alcohol makes you age faster too. You ever seen somebody who's like 25 look like they 50? Alcohol. I've seen 20-year-olds who drink beer every day. They're aging. They're aging. So you got to be careful what you put in your body. And, you have to get out of the status quo. I know some of you like to go to the nightclubs and stuff like that. Okay, ask yourself, what is in a nightclub that's beneficial to you? What kind of social you want to be? What are you getting out of that besides, oh, I'm going to go to this club and look good, or I'm going to go drink me some alcohol, and I can't understand this for the love of me. I'm going to get drunk tonight on my birthday. Why? When you destroy yourself, I cannot get that. I cannot get it. And this is why we have people who complain about not being where they want to be in life. And you have people who are content about being where they are in life. So, life is not about being content. I'm sorry. You have life lessons to learn, or else you're going to come back here and repeat it. You're going to keep suffering. So if you're not in life to learn your life lessons, and to master that, then you're just taking up space, and the meta netter will dispose of you properly, appropriately.
Yeah, that's true. It's important. It's important for us to think. Another thing that alcohol does, it inhibits the brain's functioning. Again, from it prohibits or it inhibits one from thinking clearly. We're talking about thought.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're manifesting, I think going way back, maybe about 20 minutes ago, when you were saying something, and I was off the screen grabbing books and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying something about the steps that people should take when they meditate, and a thought came to me that I
Mm-hmm.
probably have lost now that I'm getting ready to tell y'all about it. But I think I know it's important that we are definitive. Oh, I know what it was. You were saying that they would say something like, I'm gonna have a such and such, and I will get this car, and I will do this. And in order for manifestation to have work at an accelerated pace, you really need to write all of your goals, all of the things that your desires down in the now, in the present. In other words, don't make them I'm going to get, I will be. But when you start to read your goals, it's important that your goals are written in the now. As far as I'm grateful. First of all, get up every morning and be grateful for getting up. Then be grateful if your goal is to have $1 million. I'll just be a little bit more close. I am grateful that I was able to join Dr. G and Brother Amenaru in Quicksilver, and now I'm acquiring silver because I'm running our things across the thing. Say the person wants to and can't. I'm grateful that I have a home in XYZ neighborhood. I'm grateful that my income is now XYZ. I wrote something down, another note, and this is something this is why I'm sharing this. And this is important. Again, this is one of Dr. Joe's, quotes from Dr. Joe. I like this. It says, can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses, yet because you've thought about it enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already occurred? Remember, we talked about synapses and neurons earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that happens in the brain. You can even see what a thought is. It's like a red like a light bulb. It really lights up in the synapses of the brain when you have a thought. So let me go back. Can you believe, because I'm talking to each and every one of you listening and myself, can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses, yet because you've thought about it enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event not going to occur, but already occurred? Latest research in neuroscience says that you can change your brain from living in the past to living in the future. And can you fall in love with that vision to such a degree that you come out of your resting state when you wake up and change guilt or suffering into inspiration and joy and gratitude to such a degree that your body has as the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between the external event, what you're creating internally, so that your body believes it's living in that future in the present moment. And you begin to signal new genes, not blue genes, but GENES genes, in new ways to change your body to look like the event has already occurred. Now that's deep, that's scientific, but it's easy. When you think about it, it's simplistic scientific. Apparently science has found or realized that if we are constantly projecting the future as if it is the present, not like I'm going to get, but I'm grateful for my new home in, Harmony Hills or wherever. I'm grateful for the 25,000, notes that I bring in every month. You might be bringing in just an unemployment check right now. But when you begin to convince yourself and fall in love with the vision that your mind is creating of what you really desire, and see it as already having occurred. Your brain and your thought pattern, so to speak, and the energy and all of your physiology, they conspire along with the Most High to bring those things to fruition. This is what we're talking about. Don't get mad because you are what you think. If you like I said, when you come out of your waking hour, if you're dealing with guilt or for something that you did, 20 years ago, or maybe you even did it last week. But if you're living in a place of constant guilt or your shame about how you came up or what you thought that nobody even knows about but you and, maybe the Most High, you're never going to get anywhere because you're sticking yourself. You're now in a loop. That's what the Matrix is about. It's a loop. It's got you in a program that just continues. You're on the wheel. You're on the hamster wheel, just going around and around and around and around. And, I'm not going to talk about my design, but you got to get out of that.
Right.
You got to break free of that. And the place that you break free is in your mental.
Yes. Yes. So, you're speaking of Ouroboros, and basically that's just the loop cycle of life. Everything is in cycles, not necessarily just time. We are living in the past and the present. And the future. There is no such thing as the present, because in order for us to be in the present, time and cycles have to stop, and it's constantly moving. So there is no present. So that's why when you think now and manifest what you are and what you want now, that is the future. So, when we say, oh, just think in the present, that's just to get you from looking forward. We always have to look forward. And looking forward is just knowing where you're going to be at now. So now someone in the comments said, neutralize negative thoughts. Here's the problem. For every positive, there's a negative. It is okay to recognize the negativity, because you wouldn't know what to make positive if you didn't know the negativity. If you didn't know the negativity in other people, you wouldn't know how to change the polarity so they can be in a positive state of mind or condition. Okay? As a medical provider, I'm not a doctor, but I have medical knowledge to a degree. If I can recognize the negativity within somebody's mind or body, I can produce the positive results. Oh, you're not breathing right. Let me give you some oxygen. Okay. Oh, you're having a mental breakdown. You're stressed. Let me talk to you in a way that you understand, or let me give you a different perspective of understanding. Maybe you just don't know your options. So now I'm giving a positive energy by recognizing that negativity. Now, when you start putting negativity in others or even within yourself, then that's where the detriment is going to happen. Okay. So you can't recognize the good without recognizing the evil. Okay. Because you wouldn't know what to stay away from if you didn't know what it was.
Right.
And you wouldn't know how not to be manipulated if you didn't know the difference between the two. So a lot of us today are manipulated in thinking negative when we're really thinking negative when we think we're thinking positive, but we're really not. Okay. Because every time when a baby is born with all the thoughts and natural abilities that nature give it. Okay. I think I heard, was it Bobby Hemmett? Oh, it was Dr. Lila Africa. He said babies are born with the intelligence already. If you put two babies in a crib and one of them starts stealing candy from the other, where did they learn that from? It was already in them. So, what we're given today and put into our minds and thoughts is so a certain kind of society can manifest and continue. Okay. So like you said, we are in a matrix or a community, a society. Public is ran by how the public is taught. We are taught, oh, we need somebody else to give us what we want. We need government to give us what we want. Or we have to vote for a politician to handle our affairs. oh, we need an attorney to speak for us because we don't understand something that we can easily understand. Okay? Because see, when you put your mind in the hand of someone else, they can always change it or use it against you. Okay? So, not saying you got to go out and be a professional at everything, but at least get a fundamental of what you're dealing with and where you're going, who you're talking to. Okay? So, I'll give another practical thing that people can do. So, the point, one of the things you can do is called clairvoyance. Clairvoyance, you know, say, oh, you can predict the future, whatever. But clairvoyance will allow you to see where an energy is heading before the energy gets there. Okay? So, like I give you an example. If I see a blue car speeding down the street, okay, heading one direction, and there's an object in the street, I already know that car is going to hit that object if it keeps on the trajectory it's going. That's the same thing about feeling energies and being able to predict where it's going. If you want to build up your clairvoyancy, you know, it's good to have the understanding of some of the life elements. But I'll give you an example. If you're in a relationship, or if you have a best friend, a girlfriend, whatever, here's what I want you to do. I want you and the other person or a group of people at the same time every day think about each other in different locations. You do that for a few months, 6 months to a year, you'll start building up that clairvoyance, that empath. You'll be able to see what the other person is doing. You'll be able to think. You ever had someone call you? It's like, man, I was just thinking about you. I was just thinking about you too. See, that's the connection, that clairvoyance, that empathic connection. Like, for instance, I was putting air in my tire the other day, and something kept saying, someone's going to walk over here. Somebody is going to walk over here. And I looked up and I'm like, I feel that somebody's going to walk over here. Well, next thing you know, someone did come over to me. You know, it was somebody I knew. And I looked up and I was like, I knew you were coming. They're like, no, you didn't. I was like, well, I didn't know it was you, but I knew someone was coming over here. See, if you want to build up those abilities, then you got to strengthen, you know, your empathic and your clairvoyant abilities. So on a basic level, get you a group of people, 2 people, think about each other every day at the same time. Okay, at 2 different locations. Do it for about 6 months to a year, and you'll be able to mentally connect with that person. Okay, you'll be able to know what that person's doing. You'll probably be calling each other at the same time, not at the time that you're thinking about each other, but different times of the day. You'll probably feel the other person, like, hey, you okay? I feel something is wrong. See, you build up that, and it works good in relationships. So if you're in a relationship, it works really good, because the more you bond and understand each other in a relationship, the longevity of it will last longer. You know, it's like that topic, a family who prays together stays together. Okay, it's kind of somewhere along that lines. So thought not only works with manifesting wealth, manifesting a healthy lifestyle, but it also manifests healthy relationships. Okay, because that's the most important thing that we need to get back into, is the foundation of the household to project a better community. You know, so thought controls everything, every aspect in your life, but you got to know how to control it, what to feed it. Okay, because what you hear, see, smell, taste, touch, all programs your mind. What you eat programs your mind. Everything you do with your senses, everything you eat, changes into a chemical reaction, and it affects the mind, and it affects the melanin, if that's what you have. You know, and on the contrary to belief, you know, Albion's European, whatever you want to call them, they do have melanin. It's just not a lot. So, you know, you got to treat yourself in balance according with Ma'at, you know, because I'm a comedic more. Okay. You know, and Ma'at is the balance that you need to really project your life on. Noble Drew Ali said, live by the 5 highest principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Okay. There's a few more to that, but those are the 5 highest. I'm
I
reading
have
the
been
comment.
muting myself because my dog is having a fit. I've been trying to mute myself. But you're true. What you're saying is true. We're just going to have to ignore Treasure. It is important in for people who are listening. I was thinking about people who have been diagnosed bipolar, schizophrenic, and so forth. There are people sometimes that have come to me, as you know, when I was a pastor, or even the counseling that I've done since then, and they have this diagnosis and they got this medicine, and of course they convince some of these people that, you know, you can get a check if you allow yourself to be diagnosed as something,
Right.
and that's unfortunate because they're poisoning themselves. But a lot of times these people with these so-called disorders are people who, like yourself, now you discovered your gifts at an early age, and perhaps yours were not, you weren't in a household where you were unable to express the things that you were learning or feeling or that were evolving out of you. Some people grow up in very religious households and there's a stigma, or they knew that grandma, great grandma had the same thing, and now they see it in this young person that's growing, coming up. And in order to not have them be crazy like crazy grandma, they have laid, they've tried to say, no, you don't see that, or you don't hear that, or so forth. And so these people, I think, are not abnormal, but these are the normal people who are being stifled, whose brains really, who the veil between this dimension and that, or this realm and the other, is very thin or not there at all. They see, they hear, they know, but they're not able to express it to others in a way that they're not perceived as crazy or like you said, given some title or some label of a disorder, when really what they are very in order, because they have a more of expansive perception, if you will, of what's going on all around them. They're not in necessarily the matrix, but these are the people that end up sometimes taking their lives because people don't, understand or understand them, and in any kind of way, because they've been shunned. They don't blend real good with most folks. What would you say to people who may be experiencing some level of distance, if you will, or they feel they've been told that there's something wrong with them mentally, but what they really are experiencing, those things that they were gifted with, that most of us should have, all of us should have, and many of us have suppressed and forgotten.
Right. So, the term that came to my mind when you said different is the word weird. Okay. Most people call you weird, and weird just means different. It doesn't mean a freak show or anything like that. If you look up the etymology of weird, it just means different. So it's okay to be weird. The problem is, we're attacking people because we don't understand something. See, the greatest fear to the human is the unknown. Okay. So with that being said, we either run, scour, and cower, or we attack it. Okay. We attack it because we feel threatened by it. So anytime someone attacks you is because they're showing fear and they feel like they need to attack you. Okay. Because they were probably taught to attack it. Like church tells you attack these things. Okay. Or to stay away from these things. Well, those who know the history of the church, modern day church and religions, know that it's an inhibitor to keep a society from reaching its full attainment, okay, in the human family. So embrace it, okay, because if you ever seen X-Men and you've seen how society acted against the mutants, society turned on the mutants because they didn't understand the power they had, or really it was like fear. It was fear in the people, but it was also fear in the government, because the government is like, these people can actually take over the world and overthrow us. So the government attacked and hunted down these X-Men while the public lived in fear of these X-Men. Okay, so it's kind of like the same thing, because you got to understand, movies tell us a lot about what's going on in society and what is to come. So like me, I embraced it, talking to the stars as a young child, seeing things. Yeah, I used to scare my older sister to death. I used to scare her. She's like, stop saying that. Stop mentioning that. You didn't see nothing. I'm like, yeah, I did. You know, and she was like, who you calling father? I'm like, I don't know. I just seen something. So that right there, and see, I don't go day to day telling people this. Okay, so what you're getting from me right now is what a lot of people don't know, and I don't tell people this because one, it causes fear, and it causes, you know, them to be confused, you know. So embrace it, but you got to learn to embrace it, because that which helps you can also kill you. Okay, that's where you get the stories about the EFA and everything. If you misuse what's the energy that's in you, it can kill you. Okay, I mean, that's why they say, hey, be careful what you conjure up, because it'll hurt you. It's not like who you can conjure up, it's like the energy. You can overload your mind and you can literally kill yourself. That's what that means, because everything is energy. And it's like, I seen somebody in the comment talking about, you know, those energies are the ancestors. Let me tell you something. Bobby Hemmett said you can't pray to every ancestor, because the ancestor is nothing but a nigga without a body. Okay, you've been called on the ancestor, he been robbed you. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some people today I will not call on to come and help me with anything. You get what I'm saying? So you calling Uncle Ray Ray from 1950 to come and help you, and Uncle Ray Ray like robbing and raping people. Uncle Ray Ray could be like, you know what? Thanks for calling me back. I'm back in the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's funny. What comes to mind is a book I have over here somewhere that I read about. It's one of the guy's a shaman in South America, and he was saying that this guy was, I think I've said this before on the show, but he was suffering. All of a sudden, he started smoking, and he was a CEO, and he started drinking, and he had never, you know, he waited until like late in life to take on these vices. Right. And when the shaman actually began to work with him, it turned out that the man's father, who had transitioned, when he transitioned, his spirit attached to his son. His father smoked, his father drank, his father, all of the vices that his father had, this man had started to exhibit, but he never even related it to the fact that, you know, his dad had transitioned and now he was acting like his father. But the shaman had to cut the cord, the spirit to cord, because there are sometimes spirits that attach. They don't want to go anywhere. And so a lot of times they'll do it with family members or so forth. And they're just like hitching a ride. They're just like, you know, you don't see them, but they want to, you know, they want a piece of mincemeat pie. And you're like, mincemeat pie? Why the heck do I want mincemeat pie? Nobody eats mincemeat pie. But, you know, Aunt Sarah that transition ate mincemeat pie. Now she's like, she's enjoying pie through you. You know, she like, you know, she likes certain vices. And I even have a friend who had a heart transplant, and she lives in Texas, that territory now. She had a heart transplant, and after her heart transplant, she started to exhibit tendencies that were like she wanted to do like really wild stuff, you know, like maybe let's go hunting, you know, gosh, I never thought about riding a motorcycle. Maybe I need to get on. And it turned out that she had gotten a heart from an Albion, young Albion male who was a motorcycle rider and some other stuff, did a lot of other stuff. And so when she finally met with the family and she began to talk about, I think she learned about him, you know, maybe a year or so. I think she's like 6 years in since this transplant now. But at the very beginning, her first few years, her whole desires and things that she wanted to do were abnormal. Turned out it was the very stuff that the person whose heart she got used to do.
Yep. You know, and the thing about the heart is,
you wrote a book about it.
Yeah, the heart holds intelligence of the emotion. And the thing, this is why Jehovah's Witnesses do not get blood transfusions, because that blood houses the intelligence of the host that it was in. So when you start doing blood transfusions, mixing body parts, and there was movies about this, but they're right. You know, whatever energy surrounded the intelligence within that organ and in that blood, that's what you're going to get. Another way you can get possessed with other intelligence is through the act of sex, believe it or not. You know, particularly women. If a woman allows a man to, you know, whatever inside or whatever, that changes her composition, her blood. And if he ain't eating right, or if he has mental problems or whatever, that intelligence that she got from him is forever in her blood. That's why some women and some men or whatever cannot escape from their first love. That's why the child comes out acting, looking like the parent or the grandparent. You know, reincarnation is nothing more than the passing of the genetics to the child. That's what reincarnation is. That's why the Egyptians, you know, preserved their bodies, because they knew within the DNA, you know, was something precious. They didn't want to lose that. Okay, you heard the Osirian drama, where, you know, he's cut up into pieces. Then, you know, a Set impregnated herself with what, the phallus it was. You know, how does she do that with a dead body? Genetics. Okay, because genetics is what houses the information, the bloodline, because your blood is not just red blood cells. It has plasma, protein, karyocytes, leukocytes. It has all that. So, you know, but all of that is intelligence that is passed down from mother to son or mason. Okay, but the mother passes down the father's information too. It's just that the father can't do it by himself. So yes, you know.
Yeah, we're being asked, the question has been asked about your contact information. Maybe you want to post that. If you want to type that in, they want to know how. And brother Amenaru is not my guest. He's my co-host. He's the co-host. And so if you would put your contact information up, then they'll know how to get in touch with you. Let me just look and see if there's any questions as we are in our last 20 minutes or so. I want to say thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of you all who have tuned in to office hours, Open Circle Gathering. This is different than office hours. Open Circle Gathering is a Sunday gathering. You know, we're not doing church, even though they call church the circle. But this is an open circle, and this is meaning it's open for you to come in and for us to talk about things and discuss things that normally may not be discussed in certain circles or so forth. So we are more metaphysically oriented, or things that will help increase where we are, increase our abilities of psychic abilities, so-called psychic abilities, clairvoyant or clairaudient abilities, those kinds of things. So we're going to be talking over the course of this broadcast about various topics, and we come to you every other Sunday. So not every Sunday, but we'll be back 2 Sundays from now, just so you know. And please, I appreciate those of you who are liking and giving us a thumbs up and sharing this with, you know, we're not going to tell you that we are the ultimate authorities on these subject matters, but we come to you, and we will have guests. We will have other guests on the show along with us, but we come to you to bring you those subject matters that we feel will best suit and serve you, our audience, and we appreciate you so much.
Hey, Dr. G, I sent you a private chat the information, if you can show it on the screen.
Okay. All right. Okay. All righty. I'm going to, you can go on and continue to let me figure out how to, let me get back here. Okay. Contact. So what you were saying, as far as how can we help those who are watching and those who may watch this later on, what advice would you give for someone who is dealing with negative thoughts, negative thinking? How, I know you did give some advice about the meditation, and would that be the place to start with, the meditating at the same place at the same time every day on a daily basis, or?
Well, the question was how to handle negative thoughts. First, you got to know what the positive thoughts are. You have to get the right information about yourself, who you are, and what is it you really want. You really got to understand that what you think is what you manifest. Okay, so there's always options. Okay, we stay depressed, we stay stressed because we either don't know our options or we don't know how to invoke the options that we do know. This is where, you know, we surround ourselves by other people who can show us the way and give us the correct information about these understandings that need to be understood. Okay, so if you're having money problems, you know, Dr. G or myself can definitely point you in the right direction. I can give you the same information my financial advisors tell me that helps me with money. And as a result, I'm doing better with money, you know, and me and Dr. G, you know, we invest in the quicksilver, you know, which is real money. So, or if you're having relationship problems. Now, relationship problems, no one can tell you how to truly manage your own relationship, okay? Because that's an energy between you and the other person, but you got to understand yourself. And really, we got to get back into the Hermetic principles of what is balance within a relationship, okay? If it's career-minded, you know, what are you doing to gain skill, okay? For every talent, there's a means of a skill to get that talent. It's just that talent comes naturally, skill comes with training, okay? If you don't have the talent, get the skill, learn the skill, okay? I can paint, I can draw, natural talent. If you don't, learn how. I can teach anybody how to draw and paint just like I do, but you have to learn it, which is a little bit more work for you. But you got to understand, you got to want better, you got to want to do better, but you got to surround yourself by people who are doing the things that you want to do. You know, it's not hard, but you got to humble yourself. You got to learn how to communicate, because if you have a limited vocabulary, you are not going to communicate with a lot of people. You know, my teacher, Amenaru Bey, you know, every Wednesday we have a reading class and we go over vocabulary and some of the pitfalls we run into when trying to communicate with others out into the world, because we don't expand our vocabulary. Okay, if you expand your vocabulary, especially to that which you want to obtain, you can surround yourself by like people. Okay, like if somebody came to me and was like, hey, no Drelly Circle 7, you know, whatever, and I'm like, oh, you know the vocabulary, so let's communicate. Okay, because now we have something in common. If we have something in common, we can communicate, but what makes that common is the vocabulary. So you got to learn the vocabulary, okay, because these also lead you to the options that you will find out into the world. Okay, so if you don't know what you want, then you need to figure out what you want. I tell people all the time, do multiple things. True. You will eventually find what your knack is, what you want to do. Because I can't stand when someone say, well, I have no talent, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm bored. Why are you bored every day? Okay, get out there, look, do things, learn things. Okay, there is no reason. One, you're probably bored because you're sitting in front of the TV all the time. Two, you're probably bored because you don't have people around you to help expand your mind. Three, you're probably bored because you're depressed, whatever, because you're not eating the right foods. Your serotonin levels is dropping, or you're with someone who's so full of negative energy, you don't want to get away from them because you care about them. You know? So sometimes you have to make a change and a sacrifice to get what you want in life. That might include distancing yourself from people who are not right for you. I'm sorry to say that. Okay.
He's like, oops, stepping on toes if I had to, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. When you talked about, you didn't necessarily call it synchronicity, but you were talking about earlier how when somebody, you know, you think about somebody, the phone rings. This happens to me all the time. I mean, I've thought of people and they showed up and they seemingly just showed up out of nowhere. Don't even know why they showed up. But I thought about them and then they showed up, and I'm like, ooh, okay, that's a little weird. But when we decided to do this particular episode and talk about thought, in the middle of the night, I went on Facebook, and you know how it shows you the memories for the day. So a memory popped up from 4 years ago today. And we had already decided that we were going to talk about thought, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I looked at my memories from 4 years ago today. Y'all don't laugh, okay? People change in 4 years. I want to share this because it's just talking about, I'm going to laugh at myself. I look so funny. Oh, my goodness. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to play it anyway. I want you to hear what I was talking about on August 9th, even though it was a Tuesday. The date was the same, August 9th, 2016. Same day, 4 years ago, same date.
Terrific Tuesday, Facebook peeps. It's your girl, Dr. G, coming to you, hopefully with another word of encouragement, hoping that you are keeping your mind positive, hoping that you are living and flowing from your heart chakra, that everything that you do is positive, that you are avoiding negativity at all costs, that you realize that you are a co-creator with the divine, so you have the ability to make things out of your thoughts, so your thoughts become things. So make sure you're thinking on things that are good and pure and lovely and honest, all those things. And you will see that the outcomes that you desire in the world will begin to manifest. By the same token, if your focus is on negativity, fear, and all of the unrest that is taking place around the world, all of the media, all the propaganda, if your focus is there, you are lending your energy to that, and you will thereby help to produce more of that. So decide what you want to be a part of what's being created, the new, or part of what is being destroyed, the old, which is holding on, by its fingernails, trying to keep its grip on the people. But as we are waking up, those things that used to keep us under control are losing their power. So don't you be a part of keeping that alive. You be a part of what's about to be. Namaste.
Wow. So 4 years ago, on the same date, I was talking about thoughts. And I was talking about unrest. And it's funny because this now is more unrest and more crazy. I don't even know what was going on 4 years. I think it was the election that was coming up. So that was it. But dag, it's apropos to this day, even though that was, August 9th, 2016. And as you can see, when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. Look at there. Yeah, we want you to, we're in the last 7 minutes or so. And I'm hearing the feedback. You know how I am. Let me turn this down a little bit. Let me turn the volume down. We want to give them, Jasmine said that's scary. It is. We talk about synchronicity because we had already planned to talk about thought and thinking, and then in the middle of the night, because I was up all night, I happened to look at my Facebook memories, and that's what popped up. And I said, "I'll be darned."
Yes.
Talking about thought, which kind of when you talk about these parallel universes.
Yep. Well, we are masters of manifestation. Do you not know that?
Yes, I do.
This is the house of reawakening.
Reawakening minds.
Well, I wanted you to say that part. See, it's a team thing.
Okay.
Yes, I had to like pass it to you.
Guess it.
Right. Right.
Pass it to you. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Right.
Wow. And listen, you know what I want to do before we go, and I know I should have asked you to do it before, but are those some of your paintings behind you?
Yeah, those are a few of them.
I was wondering, can you
let me see if I can
move it,
raise it up here. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of blowing it out there a little bit.
Okay.
Here, let me do this. Let me turn my light down. Turn my light down. Can you see it?
Yes.
So this is my grandmother.
All right.
All right. That's a still life that I did. All these are oil paintings. That's the moon goddess. I don't know if you can, let me get away. This is the moon goddess. And that's done with 24 karat gold.
Oh, with gold.
Yeah.
From here, almost, I don't know. I can't see it because it almost looks like the person has a mustache because I can't see. It's probably expression.
It's a shadow.
It's a shadow, but that's okay. All right. And
it is a shadow.
You can.
Let me.
All right. Let that.
All right. Let me get back in here.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
It's crooked. Hold on. I got to see crooked.
It's crooked. Okay.
All right.
There you are. Well, listen, I am, I'm excited about 2 weeks from now, whatever we're going to talk about. I will have had some time at the beach for real. I won't be on a fake beach. It's a real beach time next week. And then when we come back, we are going to have another exciting topic. But while I have you all on here, I want to let you know that Tuesday coming up, and for the next 3 Tuesdays, I'm having on Office Hours with Dr. G what we are calling Super Tuesday. And my guest, Super Tuesday, and my guest will be, Seer. Years on the 11th, this coming Tuesday, and the following Tuesday, Empress Selena Cordova L, this consort, and then on the following Tuesday, the 25th, both Seer and Empress Selena Cordova L will be on and be my guests on Office Hours with Dr. G. You want to mark your calendars. You don't want to miss that. Because we're going to be, people were saying, can you get Seer? Can you get Seer Ducateers? And I was able to get him and get them both and get them for the rest of the month. So I'm like, yeah. I'm so excited that
smart guy, smart dude.
Yeah, so they're going to be coming up. And tomorrow I get my hair twisted, and it's interesting because I use Sister Selena's Rosemary's Baby hair oil. Been using it for about 2 months, and I'm telling you, my hair is growing like crazy. Growing like crazy. She has a CordobaOrganics.com, and I use her hair oil. And I spoke with Brother Orseer last week, a week before last, about it, and he was saying that his father had a bald spot and was losing his hair, and he started to use the oil, and it brought his hair back. And I believe it because my loctician told me my hair was a little thin at the top, and now it's thick. It's thick because I not only use that, but I use a few of her products. So I wanted to give a shout out to them and for her for the great products that she has and the great things that they do. And I'm just glad and happy that they would take time out to be here, not just 1 week, but but to be here for 3 weeks. So I'm excited. And I'm excited about what we're doing. And again, any last words to our audience as we close out?
Well, thank you everybody for coming out. Honor your mothers and fathers. Get back into the ways of ancient thinking. Open your mind, manifest what you want. Stay away from negativity. If you can't stay away from it, it keeps coming at you, change it. Because sometimes you got to change people to keep the negativity away from you. You have family members you stay with, you have to stay with them. Try to help them change the way they think or whatever. But, it's always a pleasure and honor to be here with Dr. G. Thank her for the opportunity for me to get back on a platform. Reminds me of my radio days. So, I'm really feeling it. I love sharing information and knowledge, and I hope, it can benefit each and every one of you. I also look forward to some of the guests she's got coming on because, for years I've been listening and paying attention to some of these guests she's going to have. So don't miss that, because they're full of knowledge, and everything that we provide here is for your future attainment, health, wealth, and just a stable mind. So that's why we call it the House of Reawakening Minds, right?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Corona dab. Give me a
All right.
Corona dab.
Oh,
There we go. That's the Corona dab. Social distancing.
The reason why I pause is because it's in reverse. I have to figure out which way I got to go that way. I got to go out that way to go this way.
It's your other left. It's your other left.
My other left. Yeah, there we go. I'm reaching over there.
No, don't punch me in the face. That's too far. You got to touch the screen.
All
Touch
right.
the screen. No, back up a little bit. Oh, man, come on.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to let you go. We're going to let you go.
Peace.
Dr. G. Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, that's me.
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 Dr. G. Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, that's me.